Hello and welcome in time for a longer video for the final day of March, which is Saturday the 31st and crypto day. And I'm going to be going over trading strategy, how I'm basically doing my portfolio right now. And within this strategy, it's always to keep the value of each coin you own the same. When it goes up or down enough, will you buy or sell it back to its target level? And I think it's always going to be important to wait for key areas for better results for buy and sell zones, as I was basically reporting in the 4-minute morning how I'm doing it with the United States dollar. But to show this even further, how I'm playing this is 10 units on that of Litecoin. And they're always going to be worth 10 units. So if the price of such doubles, I will have half as many on the Bittrex exchange. 7.5 units on the US dollar. Komodo, I got more on that. A lot of it is because I'm able to do well as far as the arbitrage within such, so I can effectively play this for a higher size bet, we'll call it. Ohm's go at 3.5 units as well. Ethereum at 2.5. Now this is an interesting story. I'll talk about how I got Ethereum and really even Litecoin on here to be very easy to do within later in this video. But for Ethereum, 2.5 units. I have 3 different ones worth a little bit more, 1.5 units or 50% more than all the others, Dash, Monero, and Verge, and 47 different miscellaneous codes at 1 unit apiece. This totals on 55 coins, 78.5 units. And I have 28.75 units in Bitcoin basically held back to buy such. For if the value of the portfolio drops even a little under 50% overall, I might have to use every single one of these units to buy these coins if the downtrend continues. Now I have approximately 41 units on other exchanges, so Bittrex will be the main one. And then on the hardware, that's where the vast majority of my funds are. Multiple different reasons. It's the safest place to put them. If I do happen to need cryptos for trading, it's very easy to get on there. And in major uptrends, when all these codes go up and I just get sell orders more than I get buy orders, then my amount of units held back will go substantially higher, and I'll be placing them into the hardware wallet when I have more than I need to play with, basically. So I have greater than 3/5 of my crypto portfolio on the hardware and 2/5 on, or basically 7/10 on the hardware, 3/10 on the exchange. Now assume some time goes by, your markets are going to go up and they're going to go down, and they're going to be worth more and they're going to be worth less. So in a situation here, having 10 Litecoin units of worth and such, then I'm going to want to come on here and take out 0.865 worth and sell that on the market. In here, I might want to buy 0.189 to bring this back up to 7.5. Of course, sometimes it's not a good enough price. Sometimes I'm waiting for key levels to buy and sell. That'll be most of the time. And then you got stuff like Komodo. Okay, you're starting with 3.5. You're up 0.113. And a situation there, you would be up about 3 to 4%. I don't mind taking those types of small gains back and forth if the market conditions say that's the right play, which is low volatility. That's pretty much how it's been lately. And so on and so forth. So you get stuff like Ethereum, 2.508. It's right where it's supposed to be. There's nothing to do there. Same thing with like Verge and Monero. But then what's going to happen once I get past the 1.5s, when I sort it from highest or lowest, when I look at basically page 2 on the portfolio balance, that would be telling me of the many dozen coins at 1 unit, which one's doing the best. So for Tron, I would want to sell 0.165 worth. ETC, maybe I'd want to sell, maybe I wouldn't. It's getting close to a 10% gain. And then maybe at the bottom, I might want to buy close to 10% of a Bitcoin worth of IOTA, or 13.5%, not of a Bitcoin, but of a unit, basically, to buy it to get it back to where it needs to go. And then at that stage, I would assume, okay, so whatever price, whether I sell or buy, it doesn't matter. But let's just assume that the price is 240 Satoshi. Or 2,400, just to make it easier, or more. I'm not gonna say, I mean, there's a lot of codes at that lower numbers, like Gigabyte and whatever else, and Tron. However, so you have, you've just made a transaction, either a buy or a sell. Now, if I'm gonna buy, maybe I want to buy it back at, say, I wanted to make that white. I don't know why it didn't click like that, but 2,000. I'm gonna buy. What will my portfolio be worth at 2,000? Well, it'll be 20% less. So you're going to buy what it takes to get back to that point. Maybe you put a buy order at 22 or 22.50, and you don't even really need to have them. You can always wait, but for what it's worth, I think at key areas, yeah. And sell order, okay, what I'd like to do is, if it gets a decent sale, let's say it goes up to 26.85. I'm going to sell everything that I will need to sell to bring it down to its unit variable, or however many units it's being played to. And then maybe put another one, just in case it goes wild, maybe 37.80-ish. And again, looking at the charts, where would it go if it's going to go to a certain point? And then I would sell whatever I needed to get to that, to its key level. Here's an example here. This is Verge. This is the 60-minute, 1-hour time frame. And I can see a lot of resistance here, or a major level at 568. Why do I want to sell at 574, 577? No. So that's the type of situation that I'm looking more towards. If it's a good time to buy when you're supposed to sell, then you don't sell, wait for further gains. And of course, the opposite is true on the downside. If it's a good time to sell when it's time to buy, then obviously the better play is to wait for a better buy zone / sell zone, whichever situation you're looking for. Okay, so let's now go back and let's now talk about Cryptopia. I'm not happy with them, but I feel I have no choice but to stick with them. Last Friday, they announced that they were going to reopen the Litecoin market, which they did successfully. And I sent a few dozen coins worth what's over 50 units with the intent to trade on the Litecoin market. CoinXEM, new economy movement, has not received yet. It has now been over 7 days of time, and it's not in my account. This coin requires a message as well as a public key, and it seems that this may be a manual submission on their end, as the transfer was fine from what I have researched within the blockchain. I sent a support ticket 24 hours later, which would have been basically 7 days ago. 8 days ago I made the transfer. And they stated on there, there's a 28-day wait period time for the tickets. And my thought immediately was, really? That's really bad. It's like going on a phone and you're waiting just to do whatever, a quick call, and oh, you're going to have to wait 4 hours or 6 hours, something insane. And well, anyways, that's what it is. So mixed feelings on the site when profit solely from the site is very good, and even recently, within 2 trades on the Litecoin exchange, that was worth over 4 times greater than the value of the NEM that I'm still waiting to receive. So I started with dozens of units, dozens of coins, and over 50 units worth of cryptos. Now it's over 17 units. And what I was doing with Bittrex is they have an Ethereum market, so I was trading the Ethereum Litecoin market. But for me to see its value of both Litecoin and Ethereum in Bitcoin, I really cannot trade amongst each other within the site. So therefore, instead of trading that on the Bittrex, I will now trade these two codes on the Cryptopia site. Now, I don't own Ethereum there because I was waiting to sell Litecoin for Ethereum when the price rose up to about 0.33 or 1/3 the value. So therefore, I have put a buy order in for Ethereum at around the price of 333 for basically, or yeah, the exact same amount that I was working with from before. And yeah, so that's what I'll be doing for the Cryptopia account. There's only 6 coins in there. I gotta have Pillar if I can, but there's a couple coins that I did recently sell the last few days. And I removed 2 EOS and Theta. This is unfortunate in the sense that they are not available on, of course, other exchanges. The main code for me, say XBY, which I trade on Cryptopia and one other exchange as well, has been very profitable for me, and I'm going to stick with them. But I have to play each of those on 2 totally different exchanges just for themselves. So I no longer have to go through all of these different spots that I don't want to. And for both, they're around the same amount that I was able to sell them for and move them into my hardware wallet. I ended up buying some silver on Thursday. So that's what I like to do as a trader, is accumulate the physical commodity within cryptos. If it happens to work out that I'm in a situation, and everyone in the crypto market for that matter, if such occurs, where the price of Bitcoin just happens to stay lower. Let's do this exchange instead. Where it goes, maybe it goes down to the 1,000 mark even. But if it goes to 1,000, it would probably take the better part of the rest of the year into next year to do so, you would think. And then it would take a long time to rally forward. But in situations within such, if hypothetically speaking, and I think this to myself every now and again, that if an event like this were to occur with successful support, because that's 61.8% support from these lows back in here in 2015, and of course these big highs. 61.8% down is 1,000. 38.2% down is 3,000, and 23.6% down is 6,000. So that's how I'm looking at that, and it would totally be very hurtful for the portfolio on the short-term level on the day when the price is at 1,000 or at 1,525. But in the situation of it coming back to 10,000 and 20,000, oh my goodness, how much I realize it can be worth simply by getting in markets and out of markets, and just increasing the cryptocurrency portfolio through the mechanism on that of trading. And even within over 70% of my cryptos in the hardware wallet, they're still waiting to be traded for long-term purposes. Let's show a whole bunch of lines within the Litecoin Bitcoin chart. This line here at 358. Price action making a move there. Well, that's where I'll take some of my Litecoin from my hardware wallet, move it to an exchange, sell it for Bitcoin, and then move the combination of Bitcoin, whatever else I'm going to buy with it, between Dash and Bitcoin Cash and anything else that I can stick in the hardware wallet, and move it there for the time being. Because I look at trading in situations, if Litecoin, say, were to go to 0.0367 area where I'm looking at, 37's been the number I've been thinking is where I'd probably do it. Then if it comes back down to this area here, okay, all of the Dash and the Bitcoin that I moved there, let's move those back to the exchange, sell them on the market for Litecoin, move the Litecoin back to the hardware wallet. Ooh, my hardware wallet has more Litecoin in it now. Sweet. That's the type of thinking that I'm doing within such. And I've heard a lot before. This is going back to like November, December, about these smart contract things where you can basically swap in and out of stuff like Litecoin into Bitcoin and Ethereum and all the other main ones without the exchange using the blockchain. Now, I haven't heard anything much about it. I don't follow too many channels overall. So therefore, I do this solo. This is what I do. So it's hard to go out and make all of these trades and just consistently be successful. Like, okay, let's buy into Litecoin here at 166 and then get some profit. I don't want to take all that time and try to find those spots. But rather, I sold within the method that I'm talking about 5 times on the way up. And I've bought back once already since I've been doing it. Just and wait for the plays to come in on that form. But at the stage where we're at now, at what point do I see this thing getting to a nice aggressive set? Well, when price action 173 to 175 is resistance, I'm not going to want to sell at 176.7. I'm not going to want to sell until even 181. So from like 177.8 to 181, that's like a no sell zone base for me. But along the way, until then, I'm going to just pick away at a 2% gain and a 2.5% gain until I can get a clear directional trend. If I see any weakness that this correctionary move is going to fail, I'm going to reassess the market and readjust to the message of the market. And then, of course, look for the key variables to try to time away at the best future buys and sells from times moving forward. And let's move on to some other codes. Oh, I just love this market sometimes. And you see this number here? Yeah, it didn't hit. Near. Oh well. 36,500 was the area I was looking for. But you know what? It bottomed here. When these cryptos go, oh boy, do they ever move like this. And how can you know that, okay, we're ready to be popping for a move from 41 up to 77 and gain about 80-ish or so percent, and who knows how much more further. This is what's wild about these markets. The district code is moving wild right now, as within this 400-minute time frame, it had a nice move before, going from a low of 467 up to like 1500. That's like 3 point whatever X move. 1500 and change back down to about 700. That's losing more than half of its value. But if it's at 877 now, and it was at 700, well, that means it's up 177 basis points. And that's like 25% in just the last couple of periods, 1 hour time frame. Look at how big these moves come into place. You have this sideways range going from 735 down to again the 700 mark, and it just explodes through and is having some tremendous gains that when you look at this on a short-term level, this can be now day tradable because you're going to get some extreme volatility. We've already had a move on the 10-minute time frame going up to 800. There's your correctionary move back to the 18 average band. It was just doing all of this nonsense stuff before. Now it's fattening out. Higher volatility does such. And you find support, and then like 4 large green candles up as it's leaving the 18 highs. And then the band fattens even more. The volatility gets even stronger. And now it has had like about 2, 3, 4, 5 periods with a small price correction and a little bit of time as well, as it is now just met up within the 18 average, that you realize breaking through, maybe there's going to be another leg higher. And when you look at this on the daily time frame, we can see resistance in the field of 1132 moving up all the way to 1536. So those are some of the upside price objectives that are very much realistic within the situation. There's always going to be this talk about any types of larger corrections. It's going to break through this 18 average at some point and have a decent move below it. Whether it does it around this, from this high or from higher ones, I don't know, but that's going to come into play. Therefore, the Fibonacci from this low of about 700 to whatever this high happens to be right now, that's in at about 930. Is going to be very, very important. And you can notice that some of the key levels will oftentimes be corrected towards such. Just another quick chart, stellar lumens. The gains in here. Oh, last November, 348 Satoshi, okay. And steadily in at 500, all the way up to like 6,000. And then it comes back down to the 22, 28 level. Just crazy. And this is a spot where the only way you could have ever gotten this price was with the buy order. There was no other situation, unless of course this market fails within this point. But stage 1, band flattening out, that has now been done. Stage 2, established resistance. I'd like to see it at least come up to the 3,200 area, 32 and change, 33 for sure. And then all the stuff after that. But when we look at this on a shorter term time frame, 400 minutes there from this move, we've had major support about 3 different times at around the 26 low change variable, and the original established resistance in at 31.26. It's working within that point. It's already gotten past the 28.95 resistance with maybe a little bit of support, but 1 hour time frame. Look at this type of market movement, as you have resistance here first at 27.16, and then again at 27.24. It manages to get above it to the 53 handle, but roughly in the 27 low to 27.10 to 50 number was big resistance. When it broke it, boom, 27.50 all the way up to 3,010, and some buyback. So obviously when I seen the price come back and I sold some up here, I knew to buy back here. And then I look at this on the situation from where it stands, that getting above here at 31.63, 3,200, I just don't like selling there. I think I'd rather wait for it to get above 33 for a code like Stellar Lumens. Tron is a big loser, but it hasn't been around long. March the 2nd, however, this is something that most of these cryptos don't do, is go up from the early stages, but it did go down originally. When I look at anything that goes on Bittrex to start, I can't really buy anything because it always does this. It comes out and it just goes down. So this goes from 427 down to 320. Not the biggest of declines, but 320 up to, well, it's doubled once. Definitely has a lot of upward potential if it's only just done that. But this is the situation where you've now had a very good correction, or you're in a downward one. I talk about key Fibonacci. Why not calculate it? This trend line, it's so obviously shown that it has taken it out. So exponential Fibonacci, I'm looking at key lows and key highs. What's the high? 678, it looks like to me. And the low in here at about 318. And the key numbers are 508, 425. 508 and then 425. So how did 508 handle? The low was 504. A small Pierce extra. Yeah, how you doing? Okay, so now you're in an area where you're expected to find at least stop going down, and it did. Whether it continues to go lower, if this area shows weakness, then I'm going to be looking to be buying next at around 425. Maybe I'll buy a small amount on a wherever Pierce, like around 474. But once it starts to get below here, I'm going to be waiting for it to come down to that next key point. And when markets go down like this, you got a lot of work to correct this thing. With this stuff like the 18 average, you need to just stabilize within it first. I mean, it's got a long ways away just to get to the band flattening out stage, especially when you're looking at what looks like possible warning signs for something to go lower. You have 3 large candles down with further decline, but move up to the 18 of lows. So a little bit of a correctionary move, comes back down a bit more, but showing a little bit of weakness after this last small rally. When you see that, then the market is no longer as underextended at 515 like it was when it first got there, well, at 1 o'clock in the morning. So and this is Eastern time when you're looking at the bottom. I think you should be able to see the time, but that'll be it for today's video. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.